Right, for your RL.7 practice passage, what is going to happen is I am going to read you this story and then go through my process of doing the questions. You will do this on your own tomorrow, but for today, I'm going to show you how you would do that. So this is RL.7 and it is your practice passage. Now, just listen to me as I read. So this story is called Unique. Jordan did not like school. He loved art class, but that was it. Today was Tuesday, which meant reading day, and he absolutely hated reading. But Wednesday was art day, so the quicker he got through today, the quicker he could get to tomorrow. He felt an impending sense of doom as he trudged his way into class. Notice there is an illustration over here showing him coming to class. The bell hadn't rung yet, so everyone was walking around as they talked to their friends and caught up on their day. Jordan was new to the school, so he hadn't made any new friends yet. The bell rang just as Jordan slid into his chair, pretending to be invisible. "Good morning, class," said the teacher. "I hope that everyone had a pleasant Monday. As you know, Tuesday is a day dedicated to literature and reading, so we will be writing our own stories and exchanging them with each other to read out loud in class today." Jordan stifled a groan. Remember, a groan is like, ugh. He already had a tough time putting his thoughts into words, so writing a story would take forever. "You have the remainder of the time this morning to write a story, and we will read them after lunch," the teacher continued. Determined, Jordan started working on his story. He had a plot he had recently thought about, so he meticulously wove his way through his thoughts and put them into words. This wasn't as bad as he had thought it would be. 4 hours later, when the bell rang for lunch, Jordan stared in awe at the completed story in front of him. He hadn't thought that he'd be able to do it. He smiled all throughout lunch. He couldn't wait for his story to be read out loud. Back in class, the teacher collected everyone's stories and then passed them out again to be read aloud. Jordan anxiously wondered who would read his story. His question was answered shortly after. "It was the middle of May when the accident happened," the speaker read. "The classroom was punctuated with a few snickers. I heard a shout and wanted to help," the speaker continued. The snickers had turned into giggles now. Natalie, who was reading Jordan's story, valiantly tried to continue over the low hum of laughter. However, when she reached the next sentence, she stopped and looked over at the teacher. "Miss Lou, I can't continue reading because I don't understand the next few sentences," Natalie said as she handed Jordan's story to Miss Lou and quickly went back to her desk, feeling sorry for Jordan. Jordan was mortified because he had worked so hard to complete the story on time, and so far it was a disaster. "Someone sent him back to preschool. He doesn't even know how to spell," a boy said in a loud whisper from the back. "Do you not have a dictionary at home?" called another voice between laughing fits. Jordan felt his neck and ears turning red from embarrassment. How could he have been so stupid? He felt angry with himself. Miss Lou realized what was going on and asked the next person to come up and read a story to divert the attention from Jordan. Much to Jordan's humiliation, he was next. He got up on shaky legs and began reading. The, the, the there was a small cottage by the Mediterranean Sea, right? He fumbled over the words. "What a baby! He can't read or write," came a voice from the front row. With tears in his eyes, he felt grateful that his reading time was cut short with the sharp ring of the bell. As everyone gathered their things and got ready for dismissal, Jordan sat in his desk dejectedly. Miss Lou quietly made her way to his desk. Jordan, I read your story and I love it. The plot is very original, Miss Lou said. Really? Jordan's voice was laced with disbelief. Yes, this story is very interesting. How about you make a comic out of the plot? I've seen your drawings, and you're very talented. We can pass the comics out to the class tomorrow. What do you say? Asked Miss Lou. Yes, Miss Lou, I would like that very much, Jordan replied and smiled. He couldn't wait to go home and work on this new project. He quickly packed up his remaining things and made his way home. Jordan spent the rest of his afternoon locked in his room. He occasionally emerged to get some construction paper or a new glue stick. Jordan's mom wondered what was going on. The next morning, Jordan got to school early. In his hands, he carried a round box that he could hardly wait to show everyone. He made his way to Miss Lou's desk and showed her his contraption. She was both surprised and awestruck. It had taken a lot of talent to create something so complex. Art class started with a display of Jordan's project. He had created a rotating drum with his story portrayed in a comic on the side. In the middle of the drum was a handle you could use to rotate the comics. The class oohed and awed over Jordan's unique creation. The best part was that everyone enjoyed his story, which was obvious by the way they hung onto every word. The rest of the day passed in a blur of laughter and fun. After all, Wednesday was art day. As the dismissal bell rang and Jordan got ready to leave, he felt a tap on his shoulder. Hey, Jordan, said Bill, one of the kids who had laughed at his story yesterday. Hi, Bill, Jordan answered amiably. I wanted to say sorry for what I said yesterday, he said apologetically. Everyone has different strengths and weaknesses, and it was wrong of me to make fun of you. You are incredibly talented. I could never make something like that. He pointed to the drum on his desk. Thank you for that. I accept your apology. If you'd like, you can come over sometime, and I could teach you how to make it, Jordan offered. Both boys smiled at each other because it was the start of a new friendship. All right, so we're going to look at these questions together. All right, so here are the questions. Which sentence from the story is supported by the first illustration? So this crayon over here says we're going to color it in red. So I am going to look at the first illustration. We're looking for the sentence. So in red, I put my illustrations that went the first illustration. So we have the people right here, and we have Jordan's face. Now, let's look and see which sentences go with that. So I can see right here the bell hadn't rung yet. I can also see that because the bell had not rung yet, everyone was walking around as they talked to their friends and caught up on their day. I can also see that Jordan was new, so he hadn't made any friends yet. That's probably why his face looks a little unhappy. So there's my picture. We see he's unhappy, doesn't really have anybody to talk to, and everybody's around. So I'm going to go ahead and make these sentences red. Then I'm going to go back to my question, and it says, which sentence from the story is supported by the first illustration? Jordan did not like school. Oh, yeah, that does sound like what he kind of said. So I'm going to go ahead and put a box around this. And it'll be easier for you when you do this because you will have something to actually highlight with. He loved art class, but that was it. That first illustration doesn't really show me that, so I'm not going to choose that one. Then we have the bell hadn't rung yet. We know that that's it because they were all standing around. And then we also know that the last one Jordan was new to the school, so he hadn't made any new friends yet, is also an answer because we see that he doesn't have anybody to hang out with. Now, how does the second picture help the reader's comprehension? Choose all that apply. So we can choose more than one, and we're going to do this in orange. So the second picture I have in orange right here. I'm going to present it so you can see it a little better. He doesn't really look as upset as he did up here. So we're looking for the sentence that tells us like what that talks about. So I'm going to get orange. This picture shows that Jordan is now excited to write. Well, I think that he's a little more happy than he was. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in orange. The reader, how lonely Jordan is. I don't think going to this picture, that's what I think. How difficult writing is for Jordan, you can't tell that through this picture. And the picture shows that Jordan's attitude about writing has changed. In this picture, he's not mad anymore. He's excited to give writing a try. So we are going to go ahead and put a box around that one as well. Now this last question, if you look at it, says, in each illustration, the illustrator portrays Jordan's feelings through the expression on his face. How do the events in the story cause his emotions to change? So we have the events in red and orange that we did, and I put a box in yellow around his face in the multiple illustrations. So he's not too happy. He gets a little happier. On the next page, he goes to sad again, but on the last page, he looks happy again. So when you go to write how he feels, you need to talk about all the changes that he goes through. All the changes that Jordan goes through, and you're going to write them on the line. So you can see, and give Miss Baker a second because it's not that as easy because I have to drag and drop and move all of it. Alright, so you see that I put in the beginning. So we are telling how he feels throughout the story. So in the beginning, Jordan is nervous and unhappy about being at school since he is new and he has trouble with writing. You can see that in the pictures. You can see that in the sentences. Once he begins to write, he starts to enjoy it. You can see in this second picture, he's not as upset. His feelings change again when a classmate reads his story out loud and he realizes how many mistakes he made. He's so upset right here. He doesn't know how to handle it. In the end, Jordan shows his storytelling talent through his artwork, and he feels happy and confident in front of his classmates. You can see he is super happy right here. So notice when I gave you that answer, I went all through out the story. I didn't just start at the beginning and put one thing. I put multiple things all the way through the story. So this is going to be your assignment on Wednesday. You'll have a passage just like this, and this will be your job to do this. So if you need a reminder, you can go back to this video.